Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going to be covering some tips for new players and help them get the best advantage they can going into the early game and moving into the mid game. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. Tip number one is one not all people are going to want to do, but personally I highly recommend it, and that's joining the official Age of Magic Discord server. There will be an offer given to you in-game pretty early on to join the server. You will receive a free hero. I think it's Sabretooth. Not important. But if you join the Discord server, it's going to be the number one place to get information. Not only information, you're going to be able to find friends there to help you progress through the game. You're going to be able to find clans through the Discord server. And a lot of clans, a lot of healthy, active clans, use Discord themselves for communication because the communication within the game isn't the best. So this is going to be your number one tool in just generic information about the game and players helping you progress. There will be a solution or an answer to any problem you have. So that is tip number one. The second tip is the first goal you should be setting for yourself. When you enter this game, you'll be introduced to a bunch of things, but one thing reigns supreme personally. I recommend this to all new players. I did it myself when I started my free-to-play accounts, is your first goal. Getting the Kobold Business event complete. The Kobold Business event is going to reward you with Rock. He is a wonderful hero, very universal, and can help you in many game modes. And even in late game, he is still useful. The event is completed by farming Kobolds. You can do this through campaign, you can get shards through Tomb of Horrors, and you can farm certain ones in the market as well. His event is also the most accessible to players. It has been changed since the game started. The event is constantly active instead of coming around every X amount of months. So the event is always there and you're able to keep track of your progression, and he's just a great hero to get and he's not extremely difficult. Playing every day should take you less than a month to get him, and he will set you up for a pretty good start. Tip number three is to do with gold. Gold is the premium currency you earn through the game. There are some ways you can earn it, but all in all, it is a very valuable currency. If you are a completely free-to-play player, there is not a lot I suggest spending gold on. It is too valuable to just spend it on whatever you want. There are two things as a free-to-play player I recommend purchasing, and at the same time, it depends on your gold value. So if you've got a lot, maybe you can splurge a little bit more, but if you find yourself sticking around the same amount, then be careful. The number one thing you can spend gold on, the thing that has the most value, is blue energy. You can buy 4 packs a day for 50 gold each, and then the gold increases on the cost. So after the 4th purchase, I think it goes to 100. Once it reaches there, you do not want to purchase anymore. I'm not saying you need to purchase the 450 golds a day, but you want to look at least 1, maybe 2, depending on where you are in arena and again how your gold influx is currently. Make sure you're paying attention. You do not want to run out. It's always good to have gold in your account. The second place you could possibly spend gold, and this is when you get a bit further into the game, is in the hero events that come around every so often. For example, in this video, the hero event is the Theodore event. If we go into events, it's not currently active in this server that I'm doing the video in, but if we press on details, this event will require energy, and once you run out of energy, you can purchase another energy pack for 30 gold. After the 30 gold, it goes up to 60. So on my free-to-play account, I was spending the 30 and the 60 a day, but that's also because I was earning a fair amount of gold from doing my tournament, and I was at a decent rank in arena, and I was controlling my resources quite well and getting 25 gold a day, or not a day, but 25 gold maybe every 3 days from the silver milestone, which is something we'll talk about later on. So yeah, just keep awareness of your gold and how it's going, and then determine what you want to spend it on when the time comes. But it's very valuable, and the most valuable thing you can spend it on is energy packs per day. Tip number 4 is resource management. Resource management is super important because it's going to allow you to get more resources than a regular player just spending their resources willy-nilly. You need to become aware of the events happening in the game and then alter your resource spending around those things. Now, as a new player, it's a bit difficult because you are in a stage of the game where you need to progress. You need to spend silver, you need to upgrade your heroes and so forth. But once you get to a decent level, then you need to start looking at resource management. Now, what I mean by this is there are events, for example, like milestones. Now, milestones refresh daily, and out of the 2 The most important one is Lord of Silver. Now, the Lord of Silver, if we go into it, requires you to spend 9.5 million silver to achieve the highest rewards. Now, 9.5 million silver is not easy to obtain. As a free-to-play player, you're probably looking at getting that over 2 to 3 days. But if you can hold off and spend that 9.5 in a single day, then you will get the most out of these resources. You're going to get 2,000 indigo runes, which is huge for an account. You're going to get some arcane stars. You're going to get silver tokens. And again, you're going to get gold, plus everything else that you get along the way. So that's a perfect example of resource management. Another resource management tip is, again, for example, and you will learn about these as you start playing the game, is indigo runes. Every Saturday, it's not in here at the moment, but the Horn of Heroes, I think it's called, comes around, where it requires you to open indigo chests or hero chests like the Theodore one on the screen. So if you save your resources for there, you're going to get yourself gold talismans, things like that are very valuable, especially to free-to-play players and new players. So keeping those resources, not getting greedy, not becoming impatient and opening these things during the week, finding out when the events are happening and then saving your resources for that specific time. It's going to make a huge difference. I personally know this. I've been playing a free-to-play account for about 4 to 5 months now. I have recently given it up because I just don't have the time to keep it going, but I progressed fairly decently by just saving resources and spending them wisely and when I needed to. The next tip is understanding the markets within the game. There are 5 primary markets. You've got your Arena, Tomb of Horrors, Valley of Treasure, Clan, and Raid. These are the 5 primary markets, and they are going to be areas where you can collect a fair chunk of hero shards from. Not only that, you will eventually start purchasing gear from these stores as well, but as a new player, even medium level player, the gear is not important. So you need to learn which heroes to farm for first. The opinion may change between player. I will just go over my opinion and adjust from there. I will tell you the basic heroes to start collecting. A lot of the heroes you see in these stores won't even be available to you. They become unlockable after a fair amount of time playing in the game, or you complete certain events. So we'll go over the basics. Number 1 in Arena. The hero to start farming within Arena is Zart. You want to get him to at least 5 stars to begin with. You don't need him at 7, I don't think. But get him to 5 at the very least. That's going to allow you to use him for the Succubus event. He's also going to be very useful in other areas of the game. You've got Cradle of Chaos, you have Arena, you have Tournament, and you have TOH. And as a new player, the more healers you can get, the better. In Tomb of Horrors, the number 1 hero to get from here as a new player is Kobolok. And people probably hear that and think I'm trolling. I'm not. Kobolok is an amazing hero for new players. He's needed for the Rock event, like I mentioned before. So very easy to farm through here and get him. He will help you in many areas of the game. His accuracy decrease is vital when versing AI. It will allow them to essentially skip a turn. They'll use a basic attack instead of a special ability. He has a lot of use, and he is usable well into late game. I use him in raids. I use him in Cradle of Chaos. He has a lot of utility and very valuable for a very, very average character. So he is one character to start farming. As a new player, though, you probably just want to get him to 5 stars and then come back to him later on. Apart from that, he's going to allow you to unlock Rock, which you see in the store at the moment. When you're a new player, Rock will not be in the store. But once you unlock Rock, his shards become available for you to max him out. He should be the next priority. If he's not available yet, you can focus on Arakan Guard, Howdy, and Agram. All 3 of those characters are useful. Personally, I would go for Arakan Guard first, as he will help you for the Sooner event, I believe. All 3 of these characters are going to help you. So that's Tomb of Horrors. For Valley of Treasure, your number 1 goal in here is going to be Lucky. Lucky will be your primary target. Valley of Treasure currency is actually one that you get a fair amount of. Don't overspend it though. Those skill cubes are going to look very tempting for a new player. Do not waste your currency on the skill cubes. Go for Lucky. She is your number 1 target. Very good. Going to help you in all areas of the game, and she's just a very powerful universal hero. She can be placed in any team, and she's going to help you again in all areas of the game. For clan, you are going to want to go for Mirrodin to begin with. Again, he offers a lot of utility for an early game player. He's quite useful. You will not get much use out of him early on, though. He's just, if you've got him, you've got him. He's really good, especially if you summon Rhiannon from a lucky summon. I could talk a lot about him. He's a very iffy character. Some people will be against him, some for him. I think he's one of the best. I personally maxed him out on my free-to-play account. From there, you can go for Softy. Softy is, again, another good character, but Softy can also be farmed through the campaign. And eventually, you want to go for Siegfried, but he will not be available to you at the beginning. You need to complete his event first. Again, there are other heroes you can also go for, but as a priority number one, I would go for Mirrodin within this store. For raids, this is an opinion that changes amongst players. There are 2 heroes that stand out for raids. Neither of them are on the screen. Number one, this is my personal choice, Azariel. I think Azariel, again, is one of the better universal heroes early game. She helped me personally in Tomb of Horrors, in tournament, in raids. So, again, the second option is Mabe. You can go for Mabe as well. Both of these heroes are really good. It depends on what you need more of. Do you need more support or do you need more utility? Azariel is going to be able to keep characters from dying. She has decent healing. She's a good character for Dark campaign. Mabe, really good hero in terms of lockdown, reset initiative, and decent damage. Able to hide so enemies aren't going to target her. Just get a feel for your account. What do you need more of, Azariel or Mabe? But those are the heroes you should be aiming for to begin with. Once you start collecting these heroes, you may be deep enough into the game that you've got more understanding of what's happening. People can then give you advice, or you can seek advice, but those will be the generic ones to begin with, and you can go from there. Tip number 6 is based around how you build your account. Now, you will be introduced to many characters. You'll be introduced to many bits of gear. You'll be introduced to arcane stars. There's a lot. There is a lot. However, you cannot go ahead and just boost up 1 or 2 heroes, make them super strong, and forget about the rest. I recommend working on roughly 5 squads. Now, you're going to need 5 squads for Cradle of Chaos. It's a game mode you will unlock at level 80. That seems fairly far away, but again, you'll get there sooner than you think, and you will need at least 5 squads to start progressing through there. Now, 5 seems like a lot, and it is, but you cannot solely rely on 1 squad. Not even that, if you choose to raise 1 squad, or even just 1 or 2 heroes, you will find that it ruins your whole account. What do I mean by that? The game has several game modes that base their difficulty on your top 5 strongest heroes. So if you boost 1 or 2 heroes far beyond any others, you're going to find that Tomb of Horrors becomes extremely difficult. You're going to find that your weekly tournament is going to have much harder opponents. So find a group of heroes. You won't have all of them available to you to begin with, but you will slowly start unlocking them. Some good random summons will help you along the way as well. But you want to spread out your resources and work on a bunch of heroes and build 2-3 squads to begin with. And then as you get more heroes and can build more squads, work on them as well. It's not something you can get a handle on straight away. It's going to take a while to understand what you're doing, which heroes are good, which ones aren't. The use of heroes definitely changes from early game to late game. But that's what I mean from step 1. Join Discord, ask questions. Don't just commit to something because you feel like you have to. Say you get really lucky and summon a bunch of shards for a certain hero. Don't feel like you have to commit to that hero. Don't feel like you have to upgrade their star level. They could hurt your account in the long run. So just take your time, learn about the game, learn about the heroes, build solid squads, and build them from there. After that, you can start learning things about your squads, where to use them, how you can build better raid squads, market manipulation. There's a whole bunch of other things to learn, but that's not beginner tips. That's a bit more intermediate, and it's stuff that you will learn. It's not stuff you have to overwhelm yourself with at the beginning, though. So, yeah, pick some squads, work on them evenly, and you will find much better progression in your account than just boosting 1 squad or a few handful of heroes that you got lucky summons on. So yeah, those are my, let's say, part 1 for tips. Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're around the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.